What's poppin' guys? I am Hans Lim.
I'm Patrick Rodillas.
And I am Walden Mendoza.
Today, we're gonna tackle a specific type of data structure and show you how it is implemented.
This is the program that was developed by Hans Matthew Lim as the leader, with his members Walden Hendrik Mendoza and Patrick Louis Rodillas. A game entitled Train Your Brain, Number Guessing Game. The first frame briefly introduces what is the stack data structure. With me today is Walden, who will further explain.
As you can see in the starting page, there is the definition of the stack. But let me explain it for you to understand the meaning of the stack. So, what is a stack? It is a data structure in which the order of the data is determined by the order in which it is added or removed. In other words, the last item added to the stack is the first item removed from the stack. This is known as the last in, first out approach. The push and pop functions are used to add and remove items from the stack. The push function is used to add a new item to the stack. This new item is placed at the top of the stack, which is the highest level of the stack, while the pop function is used to remove an item from the stack. This is done by removing the item from the top of the stack. The most common example of stack is the Tower of Hanoi. As you can see, the objective of the game is to move a disk from one position to another, but only one disk can be moved at a time. Each move is consist of taking the upper disk from one pole and placing it on the top of another pole.
Here's the glimpse of the program walkthrough. The program consists of 6 frames. The first frame, which is the starting page, consists of the definition stated by Walden earlier, as well as the start button, which will then lead the player to the home page. The home page consists of the names of the developer and the next button that will now lead to the instructions page. Here, the following instructions are stated. User must think of a number from 1 to 100. Input it using the number pad and then click Insert. The status indication will update whether the user input is lower or higher. A dialog box will appear if the user put an invalid input. Immediately click the Delete button once you inserted an invalid input. Moreover, once the player hit the play button, they will then be redirected to the game, which consists of the different buttons with its own functionalities, as well as the status and the guesses that the player has made. On the left side, however, the numpad is located that the players use to input their answers. Beside it are the buttons that they can use, whether it is Insert, which will insert the input to the stack, as well as the backspace and delete. We disable the JText field for the user input so that the players can only input using the number pad provided. Lastly, we also disable the JText field that we used for the guess history so that the player's input will be prohibited. Now, I'm here with Hans Matthew for the detailed explanation of the source code.
In coding the program, I first initialized the variables that will be used. I made a class name stack which includes a variable top, size, and the array that will be used as containers of the elements given by the user. Furthermore, it has the stack functions which are push, pop, pick, and reset. Since the program already displays the head of the data, which is also visible to the user, I didn't use the pick function. As mentioned by Patrick, all in all, the program consists of 6 classes. The first class is the login page, in which the only function is for the user to be directed to the home page once they click on the start button. I used the setVisibleTrue and disPost function. The next classes will be the home page and instruction page, and just like the login class, it directs the user to the next screen once the button is interacted. The main class is the game itself. I disabled the keyboard in the text field by simply unchecking its editable property. I've done this to the text fields of the guest history as well. Here is the code for the number pad. It was coded so all of the inputs of the user using the number pad will be displayed on the text field. It also has a backspace in which the length of the input is subtracted by the number of times it is clicked. For the important codes of this program, here is the code for the generate button. It is simply a function that adds a random number into the program and would only generate numbers depending on what is initialized in the max variable. As said in the instructions, I only limited it to 1 to 100. I also converted the int variables to strings so that it will match the user's input. This is the code that will make generate and reset button disappear once it is clicked. For the insert button, I initially made an if-else statement so that the user will be prompted to click the generate button first before interacting with the game. Once the conditions are met, they can input their guesses using the number pad. Consequently, I use the switch statements so that I can easily connect the user input with the guess history. If-else statements were again used for the conditions regarding the user's input. If the user has made an invalid input, a number exceeding 1 to 100, a dialog box will appear that will ask the user to click on the delete button immediately. The delete button uses the pop function that will delete the top data of the stack. Moreover, I use the setText function in the guest history's text fields if the user has given a valid input. Finally, when the user successfully gets the answer, he or she will be simply directed to the congratulatory screen. In contrary, when the maximum number of guesses, 15, are already used, the user will be directed to the lose screen, in which he or she will decide if they want to try again or not. Well guys, that is it for the important codes of the program. If you want to know more or run our program on your own, the source code will be inserted in the description below.
Guys, by now, we are hoping that you understand how the stack data structure works. Again, I am Patrick Rodillas.
I'm Hans Matthew Lim,
And I am Walden Mendoza.
the Group 3 of O2A Data Structure. We hope to see you again on our next video. Thank you for watching. Adios!